Guys, you all need to decide right now because the next 3 months are going to be so jam-packed with back-to-back limited crazy reruns, new heroes. You need to decide right now who you're going to be saving for, who you're going to be spending for, and hopefully this video can help you out a little bit with that. All right? Yo guys, and welcome on in. In this video, let's talk about all the units that are coming out this week, next week, as well as a bunch of reruns or new heroes that are going to be coming out by the end of this year, as well as January and February, that you need to be keeping at least in the back of your mind because there's some very, very strong units that are going to be coming back or some brand new ones that could be limited, okay? So first off, let's start with Mortalix. He was just announced on the live stream about an hour ago. Man, guys, he looks great. I'm not going to go super in depth on just, his whole kit and everything like that. Some other people will cover everything. Let's just talk about my brief thoughts and then whether or not I think you should pull for him right now or not, depending on what else is coming out, okay? We'll put him in the roundup. So, let's start with Mortalix. Guys, he is an Earth Knight. No one saw that coming. He definitely looked like he'd be an Ice limited hero, but he is not limited. Pretty sure it's been confirmed by New. He's an Earth Knight, and he does have the very coveted crit chance imprint. So, any of my spenders, whales, that are watching this, this is a nice one to kind of go for duplicates for, especially if you like him and his kit, okay? Let's go over his skills. Skill 3 has a built-in injury set, attacks all units. It also just has a ton of stuff jam-packed into here. Caster becomes enraged for 2 turns, recovers health, which is nice. The damage dealt and amount recovered increased proportional to his max health, which is very good for a knight. And also the severity of the injuries increased proportional to the damage dealt, as well as increased by up to 15% every time the skill is used. So it has some scaling. He definitely strikes as a slow burn unit. The longer the match goes, the more powerful he gets. He makes his opponents weaker with their max health, and he has HP scaling on an AoE S3, which he also becomes enraged, which will matter in the future, okay, in the next skills. After his S3, guys, which by the way, it looks amazing. He turns into a dragon and he just stomps on his opponents. Skill 1 here, we have Extermination. I believe it's a 50% chance at max to decrease defense for 2 turns. Ignores effect resist when the caster is enraged, which by the way, his S3 makes him enraged. And it also has HP scaling as well. Guys, 50% chance for a 2-turn defense break that ignores ER is very, very nice. I'm already thinking about putting him on a counter set. He looks amazing in that regard. After the skill 1, which I think is very good, we have the skill 2, which is also very good. He's immune to stun and sleep. I believe it's similar to Champ Zerato. And he also has a 40% chance to activate Sacred Blessing, which increases crit hit resistance for all allies, as well as increases his own speed for 2 turns. So a very, very strong passive. That's a lot of times the very good units have super strong S2 passives, and this is one of them, I think, okay? So overall, guys, also his artifact. Let's not talk too much about his artifact here. We want to focus on the heroes, but I do think the artifact will have some usages. By the way, I do think in the video, guys, correct me in the comments below if I was incorrect. I'm pretty sure though, his S2 kind of procs itself, this own artifact, just like Elena. So keep that in mind, okay? That being said though, knight artifacts are very competitive. So this may not be his best artifact or used much in general, but I think the fact that it gives 50% crit base, which is super nice, and also gives crit damage, I think it will find some use, okay? So overall, guys, quick thoughts on Mortalix. Number 1, he's exactly my kind of hero. However, I do think he sort of missed the mark in terms of fitting in the current meta. The meta is shifting away from the slow tanky bruiser types, and we're seeing a lot faster units. The pace of the matches go a lot quicker. The damage output is faster, and he may not do as well as he would have, let's say, in the past season. I do think though, guys, for this kind of hero, he's going to still be very, very good. Unfortunately, he sort of wants to fight the units that are sort of falling off. Like I said, knights and heavy HP bruisers. But man, his kit is jam-packed. And I think he's going to be insanely good, okay? However, he is not limited. So you do not need to pull for him right now if you're kind of on the fence. With that being said, let's go on to the other heroes. Let's talk about the other stuff. But if you want my personal take, I will be pulling for him and probably multiple copies, okay? Guys, after Mortalix, we have... Mortalix will be coming out next week. Before Mortalix, we have Lilius and Ravi. This is why I'm saying maybe, because he's not limited, maybe he could be a potential pass, because the 2 units I'm about to talk about are insanely good. Some of the best RGB 5 stars. All right, guys, let's start with Lilias. You already know her. Every single video I've made that talks about the top ranking 5-star RGBs, Lilias is one of them for sure, without a doubt. Okay, she's still one of the highest ranking or highest rated PvP units overall. On top of that too, she's extremely good in PvE for raids, all the trials, abyss floors, everything you can think of. She's insane. She's good in all aspects of the game. She's not hard to gear, so new players can make very good use of her. I can't talk about enough good stuff about this lovely lady, other than the fact that Roz potentially is another knight that you could maybe just use instead. They don't really fit the same exact role, but they are both knights that are very top tier. So you could potentially get away with just Roz if you really like him. I know a lot of players, myself included, have sometimes ungeared Lilias in favor of Roz because, you know, sometimes you don't have enough gear to go around. So just keep that in mind. But overall, she's insanely good. And we don't know for sure how good Mortalix will eventually be or fit into the meta. So if you don't really care one way or the other, remember, always pull for your favorites, guys, especially when they're not limited. But if you don't know for sure, Lilias is she's an extremely safe pick. I should say that. Always a safe pick. You can never go wrong getting her. You will never regret it. All right? After Lilias, guys, we have Fire Ravi. Fire Ravi has been an up-and-comer for the past like 3 months now, especially now, though, that she got just one last round of buffs, right? She got an EE. She got multiple buffs. She's just set up to be in a very, very good spot. I need to build mine very soon. I think she's amazing in RTA. Not a first pick by any means because she does have a lot of counters. However, when you fit her comfortably, let's say mid-draft, man, she can just take over and completely 1v4. She's one of the strongest RGB 5 stars, at least for PvP in my opinion. And I think if you like her and the sort of playstyle she brings along, like just a very strong bruiser that can kind of late game can secure you the win, definitely look into picking her up. Overall, though, I think Ravi's a safer pick, but excuse me, I think Lilias is a safer pick, but Ravi is very high up there as well. Okay, so Lilias and Ravi together, very, very strong contenders for your bookmarks. Mortalix looks like the new hotness, pun intended. But wait, not pun intended. He looks like an ice dragon. You know what I mean? I think though, both are good, and I think both will probably see more play overall unless Mortalix ends up just being more broken than everyone thinks. He looks very good, but Lilias and Ravi are both tried and true for the past while now, especially Lilias, okay? After Lilias and Ravi, guys, along with Mortalix, we have Elena. Let's talk Elena real fast. She will be getting a skin. If you haven't seen it yet, guys, it actually looks very, very good. Her voice is still the same, though. But the skin could be an extra selling point if you want to pick her up plus the skin. Now, my thoughts on Elena overall. She's not a must-have anymore. Even in her best comp, which is sort of bringing her against, let's say, cleavers, especially the units like Flitica. One, you won't see a lot of defense teams with Flitica, which sort of kind of, you know, lowers the amount of times you bring Elena on offense. And in RTA, there's been a lot of cleave players or players sort of build their units to kind of combat Elena. They just build them faster than Elena can sort of push up, even with Magara's Tome. So unless you really, really like her, guys, I have to rate her below both Lilias and Ravi, and probably even lower than Mortalix just for now. She's not in the best spot. She's still a unit that should be considered, because if you really like her, also just her kit in general can still be good if you dedicate the speed and maybe even ER that you need to run her very well at the highest levels of play. She does still have a spot. She's good at countering those kind of units I just talked about. But overall, I do think she's fallen off, and I think the other units may be on a higher priority list than her, okay? Because she is a niche unit, a mostly counter unit, and also beyond that, she's not like in the best spot either in the current meta. Okay, guys, so we talked about Lilias, Ravi, Mortalix, and Elena. Those are the units coming out in the next 2 weeks. We also have, Karai can hopefully pull up a picture of the new limited Tenebria. She's going to be coming out, and guys, she was confirmed as a hero as of today. She was 1000% confirmed. A lot of people were thinking she might be a skin. This is the fan art contest winner, and they confirmed she's coming out in December. So by the end of the year, within the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, she will be here, guys. And I do think if she doesn't come out as a free hero, you may want to be saving your bookmarks, because I do think she will be limited, okay? So keep that in mind. Even if she's not the best unit, if she is limited and she is you do have to summon for her, you want to be saving some bookmarks. You don't want to skip on someone that may never come back, all right? Guys, we're not done yet. After that, Tenebria surprise we just got. This one I think is going to get pushed back a little bit, but I do expect to see the DN rerun. And if you want my take on DN, always good. I think every player should have a DN. She is limited, so she's only going to come around once a year. I think she's still in an amazing spot in terms of RTA and PvP in general. Always good in Arena Guild Wars. Still very good in RTA. Probably one of the top Soul Weavers that are still alive, because Soul Weavers in general kind of are falling off a bit in higher levels of RTA. But I think every player should want a DN. She just brings a lot of utility. When you have Rod of Amaryllis, she can keep your team alive. And she's super, super good. So I rate her very high up. If she wasn't limited, I think her value would plummet a lot, because you could just try to grab her later in favor of other units you want, you know, your more favorite units. But I do think the fact that she's limited and she's also very, very good, you gotta probably get her, okay? Keep an eye out for her. I do think she's gonna come out either by the end of the year or early next year. After DN, guys, we have... This has been confirmed. It's been delayed, but they said she's not coming out till next year. Guys, Alencia, we've been talking about her. She made it to the honorary mention of as one of my top 5 RGB units. However, guys, we're talking about a lot of units that are sort of falling off a bit. I do think Alencia is falling off a little bit as well, okay? Only at the highest levels of play. I think anywhere below like Champ and Legend, she's still insanely strong. If you really like her, you'll get a lot of mileage out of her, especially in PvP. But overall, I think she's not as dominant as she used to be, okay? Still very good, still a solid pick. If you really like her, definitely grab her, because Smilegate has kind of shown that they don't, for some reason, they don't like releasing her that often or ever. She's never had a rerun, and it's been confirmed she won't get a rerun, guys, until next year, okay? So keep an eye out for that. After Alencia, guys, in February, if the timing aligns, I think she's also going to be released in Japan, and it's been a year since we got her. The unit that just got probably the biggest overall buffs and the most solidified in terms of the units that got buffed recently. She has a #1 spot, or a very, very high ranking spot currently in the highest levels of RTA. She's absolutely insane. I think every player should try to grab at least one of her and Guiding Light. The good news is you'll have plenty of time, at least 2 months. But with all the other insane heroes coming out, Mortalix, Lilius, Ravi, the new Tenebria, DN, Alencia, guys, your bookmarks are in deep, deep trouble, okay? So you really need to sit down. I do think that you need to figure out who you want to pull. Remember, I always rate limiteds higher than everything else, because the other banners will come back sooner than the limiteds. You also may get lucky and pull them in Mystic rotations or Covenant summons. They could come in the 5-star shop. There's a lot of other ways to get them, but the limiteds only come around once a year. Don't forget Guiding Light as well. You're going to want to pick up at least one of those for sure, so save some powder. With Cerise, the Guiding Light is insane for Rangers. And overall, chat, if I have to rate them, let's go over it real quick. Remember, limited's top, so definitely Cerise #1. I would say DN #2. Tenebria, the new Tenebria is #3 until we see her kit. She may move up, but Cerise #1, DN, and then the new Tenebria, just because they're all limiteds. Of course, Cerise is insane. But after that, guys, I think I have to put Lilias as the #1. If you just want to pick for power, Lilias is the #1 for the banners coming out in the next 2 weeks. After that, I'll probably put Ravi and Mortalix on the same level, just because I expect Mortalix to be pretty good, but maybe not like meta defining or meta breaking by any means. Just because, like I said, it sort of feels like he came a little bit late in terms of what he does as a knight. It seems like Smilegate is trying to shift the meta away from super tanky knights and bruisers, because a lot of the players thought it was boring. But I do think he's going to be very good, so I'll put him on even pull priority with Ravi. Probably a little higher, because he will be super hype and exciting. So guys, always pull. If you think you'll have a lot of fun using him, definitely put him on higher than the list than Ravi, okay? And then last but not least, I'm going to put Elena. Still very good. Not nearly as bad as, let's say, Haste, for example, or some other unusable RGB 5 stars. She's still very good, and if you like her, you can get a lot of good use out of her, especially as a counter unit, countering a lot of playstyles like Cleave. But overall, I don't think she's in the best spot, especially not compared to all the other units we talked about. Okay? All right, guys. Sorry, there's a lot to talk about, and we moved through it very quickly. At the end of the day, just remember, use your bookmarks wisely. Start saving. Don't pull any more Covenants for fun. If you have a lot of gold, guys, maybe it might be time to sort of move away from crafting gear and rolling gear and use that instead to refresh the shops, okay? So get your arenas on point so you can get the free daily sky stones. Start farming during the hunt event that was confirmed coming at the end of the month and also next month. And just start getting as many Covenant bookmarks as possible, okay? There's so many great heroes coming out. I don't want you guys to miss out on any of them. But if you're free to play, or don't have just a ton of cash to spend on this game, you're going to have to start picking and choosing, because with this many heroes, you can't get all of them unless you're insanely lucky. You want to have enough pity to get the ones you want the most, all right? So hopefully this helped. If you guys have any other thoughts, comments, please always leave them in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching, all right? I'll catch y'all in the next one. A lot of stuff coming out soon, guys. Much love. Peace out, everybody.